Testing. If you're seeing this video, it means I have fixed my HD import-export editor program thingy problem. That makes no sense to anybody on the planet apart from me. I've had a lot of trouble, like technical issues recently. I lost like 3 get ready with my videos that I made on this camera, as well as a review that I made for some brushes. Super annoying. iMovie also decided to corrupt on me. Thanks, iMovie. So now I've gone back to Final Cut Pro again. So, I asked a lot of you on my Facebook page if you want me to make a highs and lows video of 2013, so here I am, and I'm really hoping that, you know, I have fixed the problem, the main technical issue I've got here, so that I can actually get this into Final Cut Pro, edit it, and hopefully have it up for either New Year's or before New Year's. And today is the 30th of December. Way to put yourself on the spot, Jess. Way to put yourself on the spot. I had to re-record my review video, so that is currently sitting on my computer, waiting to be edited. I have edited the first half of it, but I'm trying to import some images at the moment, and everything's just being corrupted and a pain in the ass. So hopefully if this video actually goes to plan and I can get this into Final Cut Pro, then that means the video after this one should be my brush review. Wahey! So I'm sorry about the lighting, but as you all know, my bulbs went on me, so that kind of sucked. Big time. But unluckily for you, I'm now in HD. Da, da, da. Anyways, highs and lows. Okay, I'm gonna go high, low, because I feel like that's an equal balance, as opposed to just mentioning all my highs, then all of my lows. And I'm not gonna mention every single high I've had and every single low I've had, because then we would be here all day. But 2013 for me has been very, very up and down, like seriously, like a massive roller coaster. Like an octopus. Like an octopus, just like this. That's how it's been. So I've wrote down some rough notes, some highs and lows that I wanted to mention. I'm just going to elaborate on that. So, I'm going to start with a high. My friend Drew came to visit from Texas. It was really, really awesome. She was doing this tour of Europe thingy with my other friends Rose and Mia and everybody. And unfortunately, like Rose and them, they couldn't come and visit me, but Drew has relatives here in England, so she could come and stay with us for a few days. It was so awesome. And we had a really, really awesome time. We did lots of fun things, you know, like go for sushi, and you know, so awesome. So, so, so awesome. Low. I didn't feel very well when she was here because I was getting more and more ill with my appendicitis, which I didn't know that I had at the time. So I was a lot more lethargic and energyless than usual, and I couldn't really, like, you know, have as much fun with her as I really wanted to. I wanted to take her to all these places, and then when it came to it, we could only do so much because of my health, unfortunately, which sucked. But we still managed to have a really, really good time, and that's how you know that you've got a good friend, when you can pretty much do anything and still have an epic time. Hi, I met New Order. I'm not lying. I met New Order. Not the full band, but Bernard Sumner's and everybody. It's awesome. I got to meet the majority of New Order, and I got to go to Chinatown and have Chinese with them, and it was amazing. And the way that that happened was basically Drew's dad is friends with Bernard Sumner's, so they go way back. So then, like, it was just awesome. And then me and Drew went to Chinatown in Manchester and had Chinese with them, and I pretty much spent all of the evening like this, because I'm a massive Joy Division fan and a massive New Order fan, so I was kind of just starstruck. For the majority of the meal, I was just sat there like, oh my god, I'm in the presence of awesomeness. And it was really cool because I got to meet his daughter and his wife, and they were really awesome too. And I also got to meet DJ Tintin too, who's opened up for New Order quite a few times, and it was so cool. And we had like the Chinese food, and then when I finally got the chance to kind of speak to him, I was just kind of like, will you please sign this? And then like I managed to get a signed CD for Niall as well. I made a fool out of myself because I turned around to him and I said, please could you write "How does it feel" inside the CD, please? And he just kind of looked at me, and I said, yeah, that one's for my boyfriend. He walks around the house cleaning going, how does it feel? Yeah, I did that in front of Bernard Sumner's. Guilty. Don't care. It was so funny and awesome, but like that whole night I kind of still felt a bit crappy. like health-wise, but was so focused in such a positive state of mind because like I was meeting like people like I've always wanted to meet but never thought that I would ever meet. And like Drew surprised me, like said, oh, by the way, we're going for Chinese, the new order. And I was like, no, we're not. What? And it was amazing. It was definitely one of the highlights of my year, and I can't thank Drew enough for inviting me to that meal because it was so cool, and it really did inspire me as well, like, you know, to get back into my music because I kind of let it slide a tiny bit, and it was just awesome because, yeah, it was just so cool. I had a really awesome time, and I could talk about it for hours and hours and hours on end, and I think I did. I annoyed all of my friends by talking about it for ages. Yes, I have my signed CD and things, and I might insert them in here or whatever, but it was so awesome. Lo, that night I was actually admitted to hospital. So in the same night that I got to meet, like, you know, Bernard Sumners and everyone, I was also admitted to hospital. We went back to Niall's house and my appendix started to act up that night, like even more so. Like I started getting really severe cramps and I was rocking back and forth on the bed and it was just horrible. We ended up having to go to the hospital and I was with Drew and Niall, but Drew stayed back at the flat because she really needed sleep because she was going to get up and go to Manchester the next day. And the plan was I was going to go with her to Manchester, but then basically because I got really sick, me and Niall ended up at the hospital instead, and they ended up sending me home, you know, with some medicine, and that was the medicine they sent me home with that kept me alive for an extra 2 weeks before I was admitted to hospital again. So it was very bittersweet, you know, that date in my life. It's kind of crazy when you think about it because like a night which was so awesome turned out to be really painful, but I was on such a high. Like I remember being at the hospital, lying there, and I was in so much pain, and then when they gave me the pain medication to help me, I was just turning to Niall and saying, I'm at New Order, I can die happy. I was just like focused and I was like, I'm at New Order, do 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 do. I was just all over the place. And just the fact that, you know, Bernard Sumners obviously was in Joy Division as well, it was like the closest I would ever get to Joy Division ever, like ever, and it was just amazing. So it's like, you know, high, low, high, low. That's a perfect example of how up and down this year has been, how something so amazing could happen in the same night as something so shitty. Hi! I got to witness the most beautiful sunset in my favourite place ever, which is my hill, which I shared with you guys in a video of mine. And the low was that I was sent to the hospital the very next day, and that was 2 weeks after my, you know, trip to the hospital after New Order and stuff. And that's when my appendix had given up on me and I had my surgery the very next day. So yeah, again, I witnessed this beautiful sunset, which was absolutely beautiful. Came to a few realizations of my own. Then the very next day, it hit me and I was in an ambulance and dying. How bittersweet is that, guys? Bittersweet again. Hi. The operation changed my perspective on a lot of things, and I'm very grateful for that. It made me realise who my true friends were and what really mattered in my life even more so than I already did. Lo, I lost a very good friend of mine because she didn't understand the gravity of my situation and decided that she'd rather jump on the bandwagon and believe that I was basically over-exaggerating, you know, the severity of my circumstances. Basically, she just assumed that everybody that has appendicitis is better in 3 days and goes back to work, and just didn't understand my situation. And at the time, I was writing updates on my personal Facebook profile to alert all 16 cousins of mine, which don't live in this country, friends and family, because I couldn't reply to over like 36 messages. So I was writing on my status, basically keeping my friends and family updated, you know, the people that I cared. And she basically took this as me attention seeking when I wasn't attention seeking. Now, if you had a lot of messages to reply to, what would you do? That'd be a very interesting thing to hear from you guys. Like, you know, if you were told by medical professionals that you may not have long to live, that this may be it, what would you do? Would you say goodbye to all of the people in one huge message or write back to everybody separately? Think about it. And she didn't even give a shit. She didn't visit me at the hospital. She didn't text me to see how I was. She didn't do anything. And she was so self-involved in her own life that, you know, she couldn't see that every single medical incident is different. Some people are very lucky and they find the appendix before, you know, it's a mess. Mine was necrotic in an abscess, spilling infection into my pelvis, which made me have to be on antibiotics for peritonitis for a couple of days. I also had to learn how to walk again. They had to cut me open fully. You know, it was very serious. I almost died, and I would never exaggerate that. I would never, ever exaggerate something like that. And this person I'd been there for a long time, you know, and I loved her to bits. But then when it came to me needing her, where was she? Jumping on a bandwagon with loads of other people, believing the latter, when I thought I could trust her and I thought that she cared, but she didn't. And there was also another friend that I had, you know, which I lost this year too, who basically fucked me off for a guy that she'd known for 2 minutes, and then tried to split me and my partner up in the process because it would have put her in a better position with this new guy that was Niall's friend. And she was actually a friend of mine for a lot longer than the other friend, so it was even more hurtful. But again, you got to get rid of toxic people in your life, and if they can realise what they've done and the pain that they've caused you, and they make it up to you and yada yada, then fair enough. But in my situation, you know, you really do realise who your true friends are. Hi! Me and Niall rose above people's attempts to split us up, and we just came out 10 times stronger, and that just goes to show that if you're in a solid relationship, people can try and break you up, but they won't, like, you know, succeed. So, there you go. Low. My recovery took a lot longer than it should have. You know, even though it was very serious and they told me it would take a lot longer than, you know, simple, you know, keyhole procedures, because it was obviously an open appendectomy and it lasted for 4.5 hours. Because of this, I suffered from really, really bad anxiety, and at one point I became so low I didn't even want to leave my house. I just didn't want to leave my room. I was just like scared and just very anxious about everything. At one point I even called, you know, Kira, like Scarlet Saint. I was outside the hospital and I was telling her about my symptoms, and I was like, is this like the same anxiety that you suffer from? Because I'd suffered from like a type of anxiety in the past, but it never really been so strong that it felt like it was ruining my life. And I felt like she could really truly, like, you know, understand, because I have obviously dealt with like bipolar and depression, whereas she deals with anxiety on a day-to-day basis. So I asked for her advice and she managed to calm me down and basically explain to me that what I was having was like a panic attack basically. And like, when I've had panic attacks in the past, it's been very full on and breathing and tight chest, but like the tingling in my hands and all of the other symptoms I'd never had before, it was like a whole new different side to anxiety than I'd never experienced before, and she could reassure me and stuff. So again, a high, like with that low, was the fact that I had a friend there to understand, someone who didn't judge, someone who understood my predicament and was there for me, you know what I mean? Someone that was there for me that lives in the south of England as opposed to the people that were around me. And that just goes to show, doesn't it, who your true friends are. Even though that was kind of a high and a low, high again. So even though the recovery side of my operation was low, you know, I managed to get a solid grade and graduate from university. I managed to graduate with the rest of my class, and that was all down to my own, like, you know, determination and commitment to my studies. Nobody else did my work for me. I didn't pay anybody to do my work for me. I completed my dissertation from a hospital bed on morphine. Now that is something to be bloody chuffed about. And despite my ill health, you know, I even practiced collecting my degree with a walking stick. And then in the end I never needed the walking stick to actually walk up and collect it. So that was pretty cool, I think. You know, that's definitely a high. That's a silver lining in itself to show like hard work, you know. With hard work and with drive you can succeed. You just gotta try and not give up. Low. Metal stitches are so painful. And I had these metal stitches in the biggest scar, and the others were dissolvable, so it was like yay, but the big one, someone said that you just snip them out and you don't even feel it. When they're in your abdomen you do. Did I even say that right? Abdomen. Abdomen. You do feel them when you're in their abdomen. Abdomen. Hi. But I didn't cry when the nurse took them out, did I? Man points. Low. During my recovery I temporarily lost myself and the person that I was, and I became very depressed. It was hard to get out of that depression, very hard. High. But if it wasn't for such a close brush with death, I would have never been the person that I am today, and I would never be sat here talking to you guys the way that I'm talking so openly now, despite being quite an open person before my operation. The person that was on that table for 4.5 hours, before the operation, my heart went on the table and I became so weak that I could have just died there and then, but I didn't. But the person that was on that table did die, because I'm not the same person that I used to be now. I'm, similar. I'm still the same person, but a lot of my traits and a lot of the things that I thought and a lot of my perspective changed entirely and made me into a bit of a different person. But I feel like I improved myself and left a lot of parts of myself that, not that, I wouldn't say that I wasn't proud of, but I left a big part of me on that table that never came back. And I was kind of reborn in a way, and I'm not going to say that I saw the light and I came back like Drop Dead Diva as a whole new person. I didn't press the return button, but the person I came back as was just basically a better, improved version of myself, and it made me so much stronger. And I left behind so many fears and previous demons of mine, and if it wasn't for that close brush with death, then I would not be the person that I am today, and that's something very important to mention. Lo, I was disowned by a segment of my family for being pregnant and not married recently, and it sucked. Big time. And this is why I have zero tolerance for bullshit with anybody else that tries to judge me, because people that do matter have judged me so harshly, and that hurts 10 times more than you could ever imagine unless you've been in that position yourself. And I have zero tolerance for bullshit now. Hi! Because of this, I know exactly who is important and who isn't, and I feel blessed for the life that is growing inside of me, and I don't want anyone else to make me feel otherwise, because at the end of the day, I was told that this wouldn't be a possibility, and it is. And to me, not only is that a miracle, but that's a gift in itself, and I choose to appreciate that, So at the end of the day, bittersweet again. Lo, at the beginning of this year, I completely lost my confidence in music and my singing abilities and everything. Hi! I refound my musicality and started practicing again, which was awesome. And I'm now actually better vocally, I think, and musically than I was beforehand, because not only have I practiced and practiced and practiced again, but I feel as though I've outdone myself personally, as a musician. Like, you constantly analyse yourself and analyse your instrument playing and your timing and your writing and everything. And I actually can see an improvement vastly standing back and listening to the recordings I've made and blah blah blah. And it just goes to show that temporarily I may have been out of the game, but then I've come back fighting 10 times harder. And again, I stand by everything I've always believed in, that if you sing from the heart, and the music is within you, then whatever people tell you about your pitch and whatever people tell you about whether they like your voice or they don't like your voice, you can remember that 100 people could tell you that you're amazing. There's always going to be 3 or 4 people that think you're absolutely wank. And that's something really important to remember, I think, when you're a musician. Obviously, you've got people that are tone deaf. I'm not going to lie, some people are tone deaf. But at the end of the day, if that person wants to be a musician and wants to embrace the musicality, they'll work harder to get better at what they want to do, and then they'll accomplish something. And at the end of the day, it's not for anyone else to kind of, push their negativity onto someone else when they have a dream. I also started songwriting again, which is really awesome. And now I've got some projects in the works for 2014. Woohoo! Lo, I've spent more time in the hospital or doctor's office than doing anything fun. Anything fun. And I wanted to get tattoos this year, and instead I just had numerous blood tests. And that's the reality of it. Hi. I did, however, get to see Arctic Monkeys and Soundgarden, which was awesome. All of the craptastic stuff was worth it in the end, because I saw Alex Turner in person. I breathed the same air as him, and when they played I Wanna Be Yours, which is one of my favourite songs off the new album, and the balloons came crashing down, and it was amazing. Literally, my heart just exploded. I was in my element, and it just felt like I'd reached some kind of musical heaven. And in that moment, nobody could have ruined it for me. Like, I was on the barrier, I was out of breath, I was tired, and I was just in my element. It's like, you know, they were throwing water into my mouth at the front and I was like dehydrated and I was like, no, Alex Turner. It was amazing. And then seeing Chris Cornell live, well, I've seen him live a few times, like on his own acoustically and blah blah blah, but seeing him with Soundgarden was awesome. If I had to choose between both of them, I definitely enjoyed Arctic Monkeys more, but I've wanted to see Soundgarden ever since I was little, so that was really cool. And I wanted to see Arctic Monkeys since I was in early high school, because I was a fan from the very beginning, like, who the fuck are the Arctic Monkeys? Way, way, way back before all the indie kids got involved, you know, and we're just like, Arctic Monkeys. But yeah, fellow Arctic Monkeys fans, respect, even though whenever you became a fan. I love you, Alex Turner, please marry me. No, just kidding. No, I'm not. You'll never see this video, but yeah. Low. I've thrown up more this year than I ever have in my life. And I used to have a massive fear of vomiting, like the sound of it, seeing people being sick, being sick. I would cry, I would panic, I would have like a mild panic attack because of it. It was really, really crappy. But the silver lining there is, I've thrown up so much now that I'm used to it, so that I don't cry when I'm being sick. I just get on with it. I'm just like, it'll be over soon. It'll be over soon. It'll be over soon. Wow, that actually made me feel a bit sick. Don't do that again. Hi! Going through all the negative shit in 2013 has definitely made me a stronger person, both physically, emotionally, and mentally. Despite hitting a very, very low stage with my bipolar and my depression, I never once self-harmed. Not once. And that's a promise that I made to younger teenage Jess, you know, who suffered a lot with depression and self-harm during her teens. And I found, you know, this place inside myself where I can just push up against myself and tell myself, you know, no, don't do it. Temptation, you know, to punish yourself for things that you shouldn't be punishing yourself for. And that's why I can just turn around to people that do self-harm and say that, promise yourself, you know, you're better than that, you don't need to do that. And I think the closest I ever got was the elastic band method, and even then I just stopped and I gave up and I just said, no, enough is enough. And I fought for the urge for her and everything that she's been through, me, past Jess. But yeah, so basically, you know, I see it as a silver lining that I haven't once done that since my teens. And I want to try and keep that going for as long as possible and not break that promise to myself. And I don't think that I will now. I have faith now that I'll never ever do that again, which is a very, very big move for anyone that has ever previously self-harmed, to understand and see that you can tell yourself you're not going to do that again, and you can fight those urges and you can get better. And you know, I understand, because obviously I went through a stage in my teens where I self-harmed and I tried to commit suicide quite a few times, and I can happily say that this year, even though I've reached lows so low that I just felt like I was suffocating, I never once picked up a razor blade, and I never once ever cut myself, and I haven't since I was a teenager, and that's something to be proud of. So yeah, don't break that promise to yourself, guys, because it's sacred and there's nothing worse than breaking a promise to yourself. Low. My YouTube definitely suffered because of my ill health. I definitely made a lot less videos, and while lots of other people that started way after me just skyrocketed and got like hundreds of thousands of subscribers, I just stayed like this, and everyone else went whoosha, and I was just like but at the end of the day I don't really care anymore. Like at first I was a little bit, oh well, that kind of sucks, you know, they've been around 5 minutes and I've been around for 3 years. But I realised, you know, like after I woke up from my operation, you know, after being through all this ill health, that it didn't really matter, because the subscribers that I've got and the people that have stuck by me and the people that actually watch my videos and take the time out of their day to comment, they're the ones that matter. And it doesn't matter how many subscribers you've got, you should just be grateful for the amount of subscribers that you have got. And I was always grateful, and I didn't really care about the numbers, but in the back of my head it was disheartening, you know, to see people, you know, that had messaged me in the very beginning saying, oh, you inspired me to start YouTube and this and that and this, ending up with like 100,000 subscribers, and then me with like, you know, at the time 15,000 or whatever it was. But at the end of the day, that's thousands of people. It's like I just shook myself and I was like, seriously, don't be ungrateful, that's a lot of people. And at the end of the day, you know, when you realise that YouTube is a massive popularity contest, you just take a step back and you're just like, nah, I don't want to be part of that. I'd rather have 1,000 people watching my channel that actually give a shit than 150,000 people that are solely watching me so that I can sell them shit, because I'm not here to sell people shit. I do reviews because I like to do reviews, and I only ever take on reviews by people that I think, you know, it's worth my while and worth your while, and that I'm actually interested in. You know, I'm not the type of person to just be like, right, yeah, I'll accept that £500 and do this. I've never done that. I've had lots of people approach me and say, oh, do you want to do this? Do you want to mention this? And if I'm not interested, I just tell them, nah, I'm not interested. Because at the end of the day, I don't want to waste my time on something so petty. What's the point? And I don't want to exploit the viewers that I do have. I don't. Because at the end of the day, you guys mean a lot more to me than that. It's like, do I do sponsorships? Yes, but I always mention, you know, and I always make sure that my channel isn't just sponsorship after sponsorship after sponsorship, haul. Because at the end of the day, what's the point? There's tons of people doing that, so what is the actual point? I'll always stay true to myself. And it was really shitty when my YouTube suffered. But I don't really care, because at the end of the day, I don't know if you've noticed yet, but I'm here because I kind of want to be, not because I have to be. So yeah. Hi, I pretty much just mentioned this. It made me realise how many supporters I have from day one that are here left. So there we go, I already said that. I appreciate you guys so much. Thank you for sticking with me through the storm. This is water. What? Low. I lost a lot of money because I had to put my makeup artistry and modelling and all these plans I'd made on hold to accommodate university, my ill health, and recover properly. I had to turn down so many photo shoots. Like, I already made the decision to take a step back from any kind of makeup artistry kind of thing to involve myself in my studies before I got sick, because I figured that I'd do my modelling and my uni, basically, and my YouTube. That was my plan. And then, like, obviously, other things had to deteriorate. Other things just whooshed out of existence because I got so sick. But I still had a photo shoot or two. Actually, no, I had more than that. Definitely more than that. Well, I still did some modelling, so that's good. I just didn't do as much modelling as I did, which kind of sucked because I'm very passionate about modelling. It's not all just about the strike pose, do. Kind of sucked. It's definitely a low. However, high. There's a high coming, guys. Through my trials and tribulations, I've still managed to achieve and help people. I haven't taken a single day for granted, you know, despite reaching a point where I felt so low that I couldn't breathe because it felt like I was choking myself. Deep down, I truly believe that all of these negative things that happen to us in life, and I've said this time and time again, they shape us into the person that we are and who we aspire to be. And you know, your past, it shapes you into the person you are in the future and in the present. It all depends on what you take from the past and take into your, you know, future self. Like, I've got past Jess, future Jess, and present Jess, and I often refer to myself as past Jess, present Jess, and future Jess, and people think it's crazy, but it kind of works for me, so I don't care. If it wasn't for people's betrayals, almost losing my life, fighting with my mental state of mind, losing bad friends, gaining old friends back, and experiencing one hell of a bloody roller coaster, I'll tell you that, without getting the chance to go to the damn theme park with my friends in the summer. Niall got to go and everybody else, but I spent the rest of the day throwing up. It sucked. I wanted to go to Blackpool too, but I never got to go. And now I'll probably have to wait like a couple of years to go again, because I don't think you take a baby to a theme park, do you? You have to wait till they're at that age, you know, where they can go on the baby rides. Not when they're a newborn baby. What's the point in that? But maybe I'll get a chance to go to a theme park, you know, sometime in the next 5 years now. If it wasn't for all of this crap happening, then I wouldn't have acquired, you know, this newfound strength and experience, which is priceless in itself. You can't give me £100 in my hand, you know, and say, can I have all that experience that you've got? Because at the end of the day, there's no way you can gain, you know, any sentiment or any experience without living through it yourself, and it is truly priceless. And now I'm ready to take a step into 2014. I am confident that as shitty as 2013 has been to me, I'm still proud of my artistic abilities, musicality, and drive. You know, the bottom line is, I'm now acquired with all of this new stuff, this new thought, this new process, all of these experiences and strength to hopefully be the best person I could possibly be to my jelly bean in my tummy. And that's going to be my priority in 2014. To give that child everything that I never had, and all of the love that I never had, and all of the support that I never had. To never push it into a corner and feel like it can't achieve anything in life. To never push that child into the corner to the point where it feels so alone that it doesn't feel like it has anybody to talk to. And I'm quite determined that my child will never ever feel that kind of loneliness that I felt, you know, while I was growing up. And if it isn't for your bad experiences in life, you'll never, you know, get anywhere in life. I've gained a whole new life to appreciate, and it's only really going to get better. And it's going to be hard, but at the end of the day, I'm pretty confident, you know, that all of this shit happened for a reason. And I really hope that you all have a good New Year's, and I feel like I'm gonna cry. I hope you all have had, like, you know, despite having an up and down year, I don't know if yours has been as crazy as mine, but if you want to comment with your highs and lows down below, that would be awesome. My eyes. And I hope that, you know, you all know that you're not alone. And even when you feel like you're at war with yourself, and you feel like it's you against the world, without all this shit happening, you wouldn't see the good, you wouldn't appreciate the good, you wouldn't feel the good. You need to feel pain and badness and darkness to feel any form of lightness and good things. And, you know, to appreciate the sunrise, you have to see the sunset so fast before your eyes that you feel like everything is black. And that's the reality of it. And a lot of people in life take things for granted, and the only thing that I can say to any of you guys watching this video is don't take a fucking damn day for granted, because you have no idea what's going on inside your body. We're all ticking time bombs, and we've all got our time. And if it wasn't for my body fighting on that operation table, I would not be here. And that's another chance I've been given, you know. And without losing people, you would never appreciate the people, you know, that are there for you and love you for who you really are. And remember something else, you know yourself better than anyone else does. So don't let anyone else dictate what you do, how you feel, and, you know, what you do with your life. Because at the end of the day, nobody knows you better than you know you. Nobody knows me better than I know me. And nobody has walked on the beach in your shoes. So nobody has the right to tell you otherwise. You know yourself best, no matter how old you are. And I'm not gonna say don't give a shit, because what separates you from the rest of the world is the fact that you give a shit. You give enough of a shit to feel something and to do something about it. And don't let people tell you that you're over emotional or you're this and you're that or blah de fucking blah. Because at the end of the day, the fact you're caring enough to give a shit is what separates you from the people that are so self-involved that they can't wake up and smell the roses. All you can do is ride the waves back to the shore. Then appreciate the sand between your toes when you make it back to the shore safely in one piece. Because the minute you stop fighting, the reality of it is you'll just drown, and the deeper that you sink, the harder it is to resurface yourself again, and that's the truth. And if there's anything that I can teach any of you guys is that you should live life to your fullest, you know, and do everything that you want to do, because life is short and I can't express that enough. Yeah, I've been right on for enough now. Enough time. Bye. Stay safe.